Hello and welcome to Live at the Hive. We're here in West Sussex and in Yorkshire. As per usual, things have not gone to plan. Roger's had a power cut, then his headphones have not been working. So the 5 people that are currently watching, welcome to you. Welcome to Live at the Hive. And of course, this will be available as a recording to other Bibber members first, and then to the wider public at a later date. But down in West Sussex, Martina, I don't know whether or not Roger's headset's now disconnected already, and we're only 1 minute in, which is great, isn't it? Martina is going to try and put Roger straight. Don't you just love it? Never work with animals or Roger Patterson. That's what they say. And so Martina's trying to reconnect Roger's headset. I don't know about everybody else, but it's been a glorious day in Yorkshire today, and it looks like in West Sussex a much similar picture, nice and warm, and the bees have been flying and bringing lots of pollen back. So we'll be interested to see what Roger's perspective is down in West Sussex about today's weather and what the bees have been up to. Hello, Roger. Oh no, the phone has gone again. Oh, my word. I am so sorry about this. We have ordered a new headset, thinking that the old one was on its way out, and it's suddenly conked out today. So, hello, Roger.
Hello, Richard. I've got you back now, but I seem to have missed quite a bit.
That's all right. I was just...
The other person has call captions enabled. Please start speaking.
On again.
Thank you, mate. So we've... I was just filling time and telling everybody what glorious weather it's been like, and the bees bringing back pollen, lots of swarms. Pat Holden says she's had quite a few calls from the Southend area. But what's it like with you, Roger?
Well, it's been a bit thundery the last couple of days.
Ah, right.
Yeah, we had a little bit of a thunderstorm last night. And at Whisper Green teaching apiary, we had a meeting, and I think people knew what was coming because there was only 5 of us there, and we might as well jumped in a swimming pool because we all got pretty wet. And well, you know, beekeeping is fun, really, isn't it?
It certainly is.
You've got to work around the weather. Now, I don't quite know what you said. Did you explain what happened last week? And apologise. I suspect you did.
I didn't actually. I didn't. I was just explaining how you'd had a power cut and the headset had failed this week.
Today there was a massive outage with 3 postcode areas out, right down the coast, right up past Guildford, and I think across to Portsmouth. A huge area. We were out for about 2 hours and came back about 4 o'clock, I think, something like that. So anyway, right, you and I got a meeting to go to afterwards, so I'll try and get on as best as I can. Yesterday was my my check-in day for the apiary, 14 days, but I've left a couple of colonies. I haven't seen inside them, but I'll checking on the record sheet. I think there could be some fairly interesting things. But before then, I'm still hearing of people who are losing bees. And one of our very good members at Whisper Green, I think he's lost now all 8 of his colonies. And the last one he lost this last week. And what I'm hearing from throughout the country, and in fact further afield, is that colonies are just losing adult bees, and they're leaving quite a lot of food, and most of them are leaving brood as well. So there's a loss of bees that are going somewhere. I woke up this morning to an email from one of our listeners in Florida, who sent me a link to I think it was a newspaper article about Canadian beekeepers, and some of them have lost over 90% of their bees there. So it's not just us; it's the rest of the world as well, I think. As well as our beekeeper that I told you about, we've got another one with 100 colonies, and she's lost quite a lot of bees as well. And it seems to be later this year than it has been previously. I've got one here which is a bit of a strange one. It flat refused to take food last autumn. So what I did was I got food from other colonies and gave that as a winter food. And come the spring, the queen just hasn't really got going, and I can't actually see too much wrong with them. They're quite lively in the hive. They're a bit of a runny sort of a colony. And there is a little bit of chalk brood there, but I don't think that's a real problem. So quite frankly, the number I've seen over the last 10 or 15 years, really it's a euthanasia job, because they don't seem to recover. But what I'm going to do with this colony, I know some people will jump all over me for doing it, but I'm going to leave it in this apiary, and I'm actually going to requeen it. So to see if that would do any good, and I'll probably put some brood in as well. I may at the end of the day lose it, but you don't learn anything if you don't try things. Anyway, let's get on to this evening's session. I've got 2 colonies here that were last looked at about a couple of weeks ago, something like that. And I hope that we've got something quite interesting. So let's move over, Martina, to the first colony. I better apologise to everybody because I've got lots of stuff stacked up here. The reason is I've been pretty busy over the winter making things, and because I'm not on my own ground, I'm in a neighbour's garden. I've got no storage, so really stuff is just stored outside. Right, when I finally get dressed, I can get into this hive here. Now I haven't, as usual, I haven't set anything up, so I haven't really looked at them. A pair of glasses wouldn't be handy, wouldn't they? So I will give them just a little bit of smoke first. They're sort of going in and out okay. And I'll read from the record sheet what we got. So the first inspection on the 16th of April, the queen had already disappeared. Hang on, Martina, I'm going to get a different arrangement there. Right now, queens disappearing is one of the 3 main problems that I've discovered with queens about 20 years ago now. And in fact, there are 2 others out of 21 colonies here. There are 2 others that yesterday I discovered queens disappeared as well. Now, when I say disappeared, in both instances there were emergency cells there, so the queens had gone since the last inspection 14 days earlier. Right, anyway, right, the queen disappeared I reckon 6 days before the 16th, so about the 10th of April, already done. Now there were emergency cells unsealed. That tends to suggest that the queen had gone off lay for a couple or perhaps 3 days, and then the bees set up emergency cells. On the 22nd, I decided to split it into 2. and I left 2 queen cells here. Now, I say I left 2 queen cells, and I normally tell people not to leave 2 queen cells, but I'd taken a nuke away from it, and it wasn't the strongest colony anyway. The reason I took a nuke away was because I had queen cells in there. There were only 3 from memory, and they're actually quite a nice colony. So let's see now what's happened. 22nd, so it's 8, 5, about 13 days. Now I don't know when that queen would have emerged. Presumably there might well have been 2 of them emerged. Don't forget, it takes 5 days for a queen to sexually mature, and if she goes out and gets mated straight away, it usually takes about 3 days for her to come into lay. So absolute minimum of 8 days usually. Depending on the weather, it can be more than that. So I'm expecting to find either a virgin queen in here. Well, yeah. On the positive side, either a virgin queen or just eggs. On the negative side, it could be that she might have emerged without wings, or got lost on mating flight, or whatever. So so let's just have a look and see what we got. We'll give it a little bit more smoke. Right, that'll tell you it hasn't been opened, wouldn't it? Right, now, as an experienced beekeeper, that colony has got something that tells it it's a queen, not queenless. And can't see her on there. I've actually built up quite a bit. Now, if I'm looking for a virgin queen, and I'll try and find her so that you can see her, I'll probably go through all of these combs. So, Richard, keep your eyes open, because you may...
Oh, I've got my eyes peeled.
You have, yeah. Okay. Okay, let's see what we've got. That's outside food frame. But don't forget, virgin queens are quite difficult to find. So I'm making up the excuses before I need to. But seriously, they are. They do behave sometimes quite differently. I'm just trying to... There's a little patch there where they're expecting the queen to lay in, and there's no eggs in there so far. So I'm taking a bit more time than usual. Now, what I normally suggest to people is that when they know that a virgin queen has emerged, don't handle colonies close to it during the sort of flying day. And I would say between 10 and 5. I know some people will say, oh, virgin queens only go out midday, but I wouldn't take too much notice of that, because I've spoken to beekeepers who've got bees that they're looking at all the time, you know, on allotments and things like that, and they've seen queens go out to mate fairly early in the morning and fairly late in the afternoon anyway. So I would say probably 10 o'clock to 5 o'clock, and you're going to be quite safe. I'm talking away. I'm probably gonna miss her, but if we do, we'll try and catch her on the way back. Now, virgin queens aren't quite like fertile queens. Fertile queens are usually on brood. I say usually. If they're runners, yes, they move around all over the place. and they're usually in the dark. Virgin queens, that doesn't usually apply. But I'm satisfied that that they've got something in here that says there's a queen anyway. Yes, getting back to what I said. Also, don't handle colonies close to a colony with a virgin queen either, because of course you might well be a marker that that was or wasn't there when she went out or coming back. I'm going to miss this one, I'm afraid. And at this time of night, which is what, 5:30, she won't be out in the mating flight. What I didn't, oh, there she is, there she is. So yeah, it's still virgin.
Yeah, we can see her. Yeah, she looks nice.
Yeah, she's coming back, Martina. They're probably focusing on my finger. They're chasing her a bit now. Can you see her, Richard?
You certainly can, but you can understand why beginners might miss them when they move that quickly.
Yeah. I don't think that's a different one. Well, it's on the other side of the frame. Yeah, so there she is. Yeah, now the great thing about checking is try and do it within about 4 days of emergence if you can. And I'll put her back because she's roaring around just a little bit. Yeah, because it's surprising the number that emerge with either no wings at all, just the stubs, or deformed wings. Well, clearly they can't fly. And I know, especially beginners are taught, once you put a queen cell in there, don't disturb it. Well, what happens is, of course, if you've got a queen that emerges with deformed wing, they go down on the ground, can't get off, and who gets the blame for the queen not laying? The birds do. Oh, the swallows or whatever, or swifts took her up there. She probably never even got off the ground. Right, so I'm okay with that. In fact, I'm quite pleased. Although, having said that, I'd rather it didn't happen anyway, because it was, from memory, quite a nice queen in there. But of course, I'm remembering back to last year. Now, what do I do with this colony? Well, don't forget, I've already taken a nuke away from it, which was about 3 frames, I think. So it was bigger than my normal 2-frame nuke, simply because the colony wasn't strong enough to populate the combs enough. What can I do with it? Well, if you're in an area with a late flow, if that queen gets going, that will build up for the late flow. But the way I operate, what I could do is let the queen start laying. Don't move the colony, obviously, until the queen is mated, because she might go out on orientation flights, but before mating, and then of course you move the hive and it's not there. So what you can do is you go make up nukes from other colonies and put in the position of this one. So a colony like this can produce bees all summer long. And you know, you can, once it builds up, you could probably move it every week, and put a 2-frame nuke in its place, and you could probably get, I don't know, 6 or 8 nukes out of it. So that's that. I'm really pleased about that. I'm just going to close up now because I've got one other thing to show you. I'll leave that open so it reminds me to fill the form in afterwards. Right now, there's another one over here which needs attention. Martina, can you sort my glasses out, please? Because I'm being strangled here. You don't have to show everybody what. Running there.
Are we back up and running, Roger?
I think we're back.
Can you hear me, Roger? I think from now on, you're not allowed to get dressed on camera anymore. You're going to have to be ready to go.
I never used to swear till I started beekeeping.
Listen, you can't be at the forefront of cutting-edge beekeeping initiatives like Live at the Hive without things going wrong once in a while.
Yeah, okay. Oh. Right. Are we back now?
Make sure you don't get a bee in your veil.
Yeah. Okay. Right. This colony here. You don't remember it, but it was put together between two colonies last year. It was united, and I thought it would come to the winter quite well. Let me just check on the record sheet. It's only been inspected once on the 19th of the 4th, when I reduced it to a single brood box, and I made a note possibly the queen is failing. So I've got a queen in a cage that we got from Whisper Green last night. So what I'm going to do is just inspect this colony, and I will have a look at it, see what's happened. If the queen is still poor, then I'll just replace her with that one, because she was quite a good queen. Yeah. Right. That shows that they're not very strong. Otherwise, that would be all glue. Yeah.
Martina Rogers disconnected again.
Disconnected.
Rogers is the type of apiary that you just want to go and nosy around, isn't it? Because it's got that much stuff going on. Perhaps we can get a bus trip up. Sorry about this, folks. I'll play some music. Martina, let's just try and go for the audio that's on your phone. Roger, are you there?
Pardon?
Keep going, Roger. We can hear you okay on Martina's phone there.
Okay, all right, yeah.
Shout
okay,
up.
we'll just whiz through this, see what's happened. And they haven't built up as I would have expected, so it tends to suggest that the queen is failing. But let's just have a look. Go back the other way. Take that one out first. Got Patrick Drummond there. Bit of chalk brood in there. Quite a bit of chalk brood. So I think that might be the problem. So just check as it goes.
Roger, are you generally seeing a lot of chalk brood this season?
No, not really. Now this is all that area there, and there's no unfilled brood in it, and there should be. So we might have one of the queen problems here. The light is none too great. My eyes, as you know, are beginning to fail, or one of them is anyway. But I can just see eggs, I think, down in the base here. Can you see eggs, Martina? You can? Yes. Right, okay. So she is laying, but seems to have been a brood break on that frame anyway. Probably about 7 or 8 days at least. No larva on that, but there are eggs scattered around all over the place, with a lot of gaps too. So that's tending to suggest that the queen is failing. So we'll just go across and see what we can find.
Did you say she's a last year's queen, Roger?
Yes, she is, yeah. There's queen survey. When there's anything in that? No. No, nothing in that. You see, there's no unsealed brood in that at all. No.
Was the first box that you took off just a super, Roger, or?
Yeah, he was, yeah. Right, now we have got we've got young larvae here, probably about 5 or 6 days old, but only 1 or 2 of them. There's one there just filling the cell. You know, yeah, the queen is failing. She's not crowded out. There's some brood there about to be sealed. So right now, oh look, there's a small drone there, tending to suggest drone in worker cells. Right. I've always found that if you've got a queen that is failing, if she comes from good stock and she was previously a good queen, it'll be okay to raise queens from that. I've never had a problem with that, but it's a great big area there with no eggs or larvae in. So I'm afraid.
Yeah, an open cell. 2 open cells.
2 open cells. Right.
Super procedure?
Well, Yeah, well, it looked like it. So we could be looking for a young queen now. So I've got to, what I've got to do then is rethink this. Ah, see, that's the sort of thing that probably a beginner might not pick up. Now we've got a bit of a problem. I reckon there's a virgin queen in there, or at least one of them anyway. So what I'm going to have to do is go to the edge fairly quickly, see if I can find mother. See, that doesn't look too bad, but you see you've got drones in worker cells there. So that was obviously mother failing. And it's looking as if they put supersedure cells up. Don't forget there were two of them close together. Supersedure cells are most of the time no more than three close together. Forget all this business about being on the face of the comb and that sort of thing, because they can be anywhere. Huh, look at this. That looks almost perfect. So it's looking as if she was ramping down laying. Now I have had this before where I've gone to a colony and the queen's laying absolutely fine, and then all of a sudden she's just laying on 2 or 3 combs, and that's looking as if that's what's happened here. So what I'm going to have to do is just go to the edge. I haven't seen mother, but there's eggs. Now, are the eggs? Ah, there she is. Doesn't look much wrong with her. Usually, young daughters, especially if they're laying, are fairly close. Right. Okay. Right. What do we do? Well, let's go back. And see if we can find a virgin queen. I'm going to take that queen away anyway because she's clearly failed, so she's no good. I'll just put her on a clip. Let me just go and get clip. Sorry, this is just Richard and everybody else. Can you hear me, Richard?
We just missed that because you were facing away, but now Martina's closer. We can hear you.
Yeah, I said, sorry, everything's a bit disjointed today.
No, this is useful.
I'm going to take that queen away because she's clearly failing. But having said, if somebody wanted to raise queens from this colony, I'd say you use the larva. But I've got others, so I'm not too bothered. So I'm going to look fairly carefully for a virgin queen. I'm not saying I'm going to find her, but it's fairly obvious that that one has emerged.
Have you clipped the old queen? Put her in a queen clip.
Oh, no, not yet. I haven't found her again.
Oh, she's gone. She knew what you were up to.
Well, the blighters do, don't they? If you get a failing queen, it's very often difficult to see them. I should have. Oh, there she is.
Were the queen cells emerged queen cells or chewed down queen cells?
No, they were emerged. There was a ring round the edge. Ring round the end, rather. So if I leave that up there, I'll go back The queen that I've got, which I took was for green last night, is expendable anyway. So all I can do really, I think, is to, if I can't find a virgin queen, is to put her in and see if the bees accept her or not. If they don't accept her, the chances are we have got a virgin queen. Now most of mine are dark, and darker virgins are more difficult to find. I'm going to give it a fairly good crack anyway. So if they don't accept the one I'm going to put in here, it really doesn't matter too much.
Oh, there was another queen cell there on that other side, down the side,
Well,
in that gap. Mm.
Is that one, Richard, you mean?
Yeah, I don't think that was the one that we saw last time, was it?
That was a cup anyway.
Oh, is it a cup? Right, okay.
Yeah.
Everything looks bigger on screen. You'll be pleased to know.
Yeah, so this is absolutely typical of the queen failing syndrome that I've got on Cushion's website. Yeah.
If you removed that old queen and then closed the hive up and came back half an hour later, would you get the fanning if there wasn't anything else in there? Would you get the noise?
I think you probably would. Of course, if you've got if you haven't got a spare queen like I had, what you could do is leave it 3 or 4 days, and then come back and see if emergency cells are built, because there are eggs and young larvae. So even if this is your only colony, it's not all doom and gloom. Of course, with something like this, a lot of beekeepers probably wouldn't even realise there's a problem, especially if they haven't got many colonies. They'll see this brood in all stages or whatever, but a more experienced beekeeper will spot that there's a problem with the balance of the brood, and there's too many open cells, empty cells rather. Oh, his nectar's coming today, look. Can you give Richard a close-up on that one right in the corner, please, Martina? You know, there's no doubt that's emerged. Although having a look at it, there's 2 other old emergency cells there. It just don't ring true to me. Well, there's quite a lot of bees on there. Yeah. I'm pleased I came into here. I know it might be a bit boring for the viewers, keep seeing bees, but it's the sort of thing that most beekeepers will come across. I mean, I've had this is now the 4th out of 21 queen problems this year, and I just cannot believe that other people are not having problems elsewhere. I know they are. They're probably not noticing it. I think it may be because they're happening so often that people think it's a norm, but of course it isn't. Are there any questions coming, Richard?
No questions so far. Only the ones that I've been asking as we're going along. But if you do have questions, please do put them in the chat window as we're going along.
Yeah. I mean, this would be a brilliant colony to have at a teaching apiary to show people. When I could have this colony open for 2 hours and keep explaining things to the people. Yeah, not too many dull moments with live at the Hive, are there?
Oh no.
All I'm doing is get the reputation of being a bad beekeeper.
Oh, I'm sure not.
Yeah. Well, looks as if I'm going to have to put this back with the with that queen in the cage. See, she has been laying. Look, she's been laying right out here. So she's been laying on what, 9 frames. Less than 3 weeks ago. Yeah. I will look at the outside pair. But there ought to be a bit of a message here, Richard. Firstly, keep checking and understand what should be happening in the colony. And if something doesn't quite add up, try to find out what it is. That's one thing. And the other thing is, I spotted, when was it? On the 19th, that was a possible problem with the queen. And I recorded it. And that's the main issue. Just record it. If something then clears up, then I doubt if a virgin queen would be on the outside comb like that. They're sort of slight runners, a bit mobile on the comb. Right, okay. So what I'm going to do is just put that new or fresh queen, she's not new, she's also one of last year's queens, in here and see what happens. So I like these things called puzzle cages. And I'm just going to make a bit of a space down so that I can just put that down between the combs like that. When you do it, make sure that you don't push it down so that the wax fills up the holes. Okay, so
No fondant in there, is there, Roger?
no, there isn't. No, I've never ever put fondant in. I keep being asked why not, but all the time something works reasonably well. Why change it?
So you will just come back, what, 24, 48 hours and release her?
Yeah, I used to leave it 24 hours, but I think queen introduction is much more difficult than it used to be, and I think 48 hours is reasonable. My guess is that they will they might reject that, and I think there's probably a virgin queen there. If not, they've still got the eggs and larvae, and even a queen. As a result of that one, I don't think I've got that much of a problem with, because she herself looked quite a nice queen, and they're quite a nice colony, apart from perhaps being a little bit runny, but we don't know the reason for that. Oh yeah, last time I made a note that they were a little bit runny, so that's a natural thing. So you know, if you've only got 1 or 2 colonies, it's difficult perhaps to colour queen, and it might be it might appear nicer to think, oh well, we'll see if she improves. That queen will definitely not improve. So that is basically it. If there's any questions, I'll take them. I think we're closed down.
That's one of the reasons why working as in a group or being close with your association, so that you've got access to additional queens if things go wrong, and local stock. But no, the sound from your end is only just acceptable. So I think we will leave it there tonight, Roger, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, fine, Richard. Yeah, and we'll try and get things sorted out for next session.
Yeah, excellent. Thanks ever so much, Roger. Thank you to everybody for joining us, and we'll see you again soon.
Thank you very much. Bye.